Hey YouTube, here's what I've been working on today, and let's be honest, I've been fighting with this for a while, like the last week. I keep having wee goes at it and then just getting pure enraged and giving up. It's done! Yeah! So, this is an Epiphone by Gibson Explorer. I think it's a slightly small-bodied Explorer. It kind of reminds me of there's a Dean... not Baby ML, is it a Baby Z? Baby Z it's called, which is, I think it's kind of this sort of size. I think a normal Explorer's a bit more like this. So it's like full scale and stuff, just the body's not quite as huge as what an Explorer is. The serial number starts SL7, so I think this might be a Samick built 1987 guitar, which kind of sort of fits in, so I think it's Korean. It doesn't say on it. It's got a very 80s sort of, I don't know what colour's that? Metallic-y, reddy, or slightly orangey red perhaps. Yeah, so this came with a standard, well it was broken when I got it, but if you've seen one of these bridges before, this is like a... I've heard them called Bend Masters before. Obviously this is just the top part of it. The reason for that is the block has turned to dust. It wasn't in the guitar. The previous owner had a go at trying to put bits of wood in and trying to reuse this bridge. It doesn't work. You can also actually see to put the strings in, he's put them in through the top where the fine tuners are meant to go. There's a few mysteries going on about this guitar. So I think this did have... no, it can't have been... Maybe this... In fact... That must be how the strings go in, because there's no holes in the base plate to take the strings. I was thinking they went in through the block, but looking at it there, the strings must go in the top, like that, which I've never seen before. There's obviously slight variations of this, but these, I've seen these on quite a lot of sort of late 80s Korean guitars. BC Rich famously have them, and basically I don't think you're likely to find one that's still got the block in one piece. I've got one through there, which if I'd been a bit cleverer, in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause it, see if I can find it. Found it! Okay. This did have tuners on the top. What's happened is the previous owners put there's a black bit of plastic or a metal base plate been put on it. This is what it looks like intact. So the strings kind of go in through these holes on the back somewhere and come up through these slots, which I just couldn't see because they're black on this particular model. But this is the same bridge. As you can see, the block. This one hasn't quite crumbled. I tried super gluing it together. I never actually put it in a guitar. Just sort of got the bits. I mean, I figured somebody might want to buy the wee tuning pegs or something like that. As you can see, they go down there. The back there. These wee tuning pegs. And they hit this lever, which somehow adjusts it. I can't actually remember where I got this from, but yeah. So basically, these are dung. If you see a guitar with these on it, with this type of bridge, kind of don't buy it. It's unless you're willing to do quite a lot of work on it, because I had an absolute pig of a time doing that one. So that's the bridge there. It's basically a copy of, or very similar. This is not this West Tone one here. You can see it's not quite the same. This isn't the fine tuning version, because this is just a single locking, a non-locking tuner. This is an awesome bridge. This is great. Solid. You see this block, although it's not a very chunky block, it's metal, not pot metal. Whatever rubbish whatever that is, die cast nonsense. This has got like a steel block on it, and it's a little bit more basic. As I said, I did have a West Tone very similar to this, a Spectrum that did have the clamps on it, and it basically was more like that. It did have the fine tuners on it and stuff. The problem with these is the string spacing for these posts is not where you want it to be. So I've heard that there is a go-to drop-in replacement bridge, but I think they're, I'm going by memory, I should probably have looked it up, I think they're 80 quid. to drop it in, which is might work. Or you go for the stupid move of fitting a Floyd Rose. As you can see, it doesn't quite fill up the cavity. If I get something to poke this with, this pencil, there's a bit of a gap here, a bit of a gap here, round about. The owner of this guitar just wanted it to work properly. Yeah, so I tried doing it sitting with the, just you have to route out a bit of the side there to take the actual trem arm bit. So there's routing involved in this area in here, so you can see that bit there. You can see the circular bit. That's the back of the arm mechanism bit. So you need to route it to take that. Also, you have to put new posts in. You can't use put the posts in the existing spacing. I thought, because the posts kind of sat just slightly thin in a standard Floyd Rose gap, but as soon as there was no way it was holding tune no matter what. You bent it down and it just stayed down where you bent it to. It's just a nightmare and useless. So eventually it's working. Another thing, it's a weird guitar. I don't know what this had to start with, right? I've put a Caller clamp on it because originally I tried to tune it up without a clamp, thinking, right, I'll just put a bridge on it and then just not have the clamp. But the angle that the high E string comes in will not sit in the nut. It's coming in, basically the string wants to go from there to there, kind of like this, and unless you, even if I did want to take the nut out, which the nut's all right, I would have, I think there must have been some sort of string guide or something on it. You can't use a Floyd Rose clamp or any sort of open top one because of the angle it's coming in at, because there's not actually enough. It's such an extreme angle that it would just jump out of the clamp. So that this type of clamp, which I think it's either a Caller or it's an old Ibanez, you put the string through and then it clamps up the way instead of having like a clamp that goes in on the top. A little bit of concern about the angle of that. Look at that. That's why I had to use this type of clamp. That's coming in at a crazy angle, but it does work and it does tune, and it's a Floyd Rose, so you can, once it's clamped, you've got adjustableness here to make up for it. So it's not like the best designed guitar ever. I've never seen one of these before. I really don't know much about Epiphone in this era. I know they were Samick built later on. Actually, someone on my live stream last night was talking about they've got an Epiphone SG and they were adamant it was Japanese. I don't really know. Apparently they made them in Japan for 2 years. I think he said it was 88 or 89, and it's like, well, I'm pretty sure this is Korean. Normally, generally the way of looking at it is if it doesn't say made in Japan on it, probably isn't. There's actually, looking at it, there's been a few attempts at the strap button. This one, there's one like in the four neck bolts. There's a screw there, which I'd imagine someone's tried to put a thing there. There's a screw there, which I'd imagine they tried to put it there, and there's also another strap lock there. Where it is just now must have been the final one, and it hangs pretty well. It's got the original pickups. It's got the knobs I like, the ones with the wee notches around the edge. Yeah, so pretty set up. This is a Floyd Rose I get off Amazon or eBay. It's about 20 quid, 25 quid for just like a box standard Floyd Rose. So my thinking was, if I could put that in, if the owner really, really likes it, he can buy another Floyd Rose, because a decent Floyd Rose costs like 300 quid, and so you can't put it into a guitar like this. So like a £20 one, how good I can make it work. It seems to be not bad. The strings aren't quite stretched in yet, but I'm going to try and put it out of tune. It's got a really nice neck on it. A lot of guitars, Samick, that's kind of one of the things that makes me think it's Samick. Also, apart from I kind of recognise that style of sticker, kind of looks Samicky, but the neck on it's lovely. I'll give it that, definitely. So I mean, if you can pick up one of these cheap, and you don't want to be messing about trying to fit a Floyd Rose to it, it's an amazing neck. I think wood must have been quite cheap. Maybe they found really good wood in Korea or something like that. I mean, compare this to like a modern Epiphone neck, it's miles better. It's just much nicer. Oh, my telly's going to be doing something. How do I make it do something? Yeah. Oh, haha. Yeah. So, 10 minutes of talking about it. Fine. Basically, I'm just complaining about how terrible a time I had doing it. So you've got bridge. And neck. And we could maybe, I think what we'll do is I might lower the neck pick up a little bit because it's a bit louder in the bridge. In the middle. Right, who uses an Explorer? Just trying to think what I can use for my backing track, and obviously distortion as well. I'm using this Joyo US Dream pedal. That actually does the trilly thing. A bit more, use a bit more distortion. I'm going to be trying to put this out of tune. Actually reminds me very much of a Dean flying V I had quite recently. It's the same colour, and it's a flying V though, but it's a kind of similar thing where you've got it's too traditional for your pointy Slayer players who like Bassy Rich and Jackson pointy, and it's too metal for someone who likes like vintagey stuff, Les Pauls and stuff. So it kind of sits somewhere in the middle where it's like, I can see what they were trying to do. They're obviously going for someone who likes both those things, but I think you really kind of want to be one or the other. You know, you want an Explorer that's kind of looks like the 50s one, you know, so natural effect, you know, tunematic bridge, and this shape, yes, and or something like this, but pointier, a pointy headstock, and you know, active pickups in it. Yes, and this is kind of somewhere in the middle, so it's quite a weird one. As I said, I've never actually seen another one of these before. I have seen there is a Flying V that Epiphone made, which I think has this headstock. So it's still kind of held tune a little bit. I mean, for saying that, for putting strings on, I mean, I've had the strings on and off this 10 times in the last couple of days, just trying to make this thing work. But that's about as good as I can really think a Floyd Rose can hold, unless it's you know, like it's a £300 Floyd Rose, and I've let the strings stretch in, which these haven't. Okay, they've been stretched as they've been put on and off hundreds of times, but not played. Actually, it's quite mad when I'm sitting there going, what? Who plays an Explorer? And really the only person I could think of is The Edge. I suppose Metallica, or... Actually, playing it there, it's kind of my hatred for it, just because I've been fighting with it for the last week. Also, I blew money on bought a bridge that I thought would fit and didn't. Like I thought, oh, Stratty bridge 2-point thing, nothing like fitting. There's no chance. So these can, if you've got one of these, it is possible to fit a Floyd Rose, basically. Really kind of the only option, really, unless you go for the old, you know, like physically blocking the hole and sticking a hardtail on it or something like that. Suppose you could do that, but I mean, that doesn't look quite as neat as this, and you can't, even there in the video, even though I've pointed out the fact that there are slight gaps down the side, you can see it there because you can see my t-shirt behind it. Yeah. But I think you'd have to be looking pretty close to see that. So I mean, I don't know. This guitar has now entered into the phase, which I've talked about before, where I think that bridge maybe snapped 10, 15, 20 years ago. So this guitar has not been a guitar for a decade anyway. And the more I'm playing it, the more I can feel everything just going, and the vibrating, and the things are tightening up, and the bits, and it's becoming a guitar again. You've got to kind of play one of these things. I think acoustics are even worse for that. You know, if you get an acoustic that nobody's touched for 10 years and you strum it, it just sounds like a cardboard box with strings on it. But after half an hour of battering it, suddenly the dust vibrates out the pores and all that stuff, and you know, things like the neck bolts just get tighter, and the tuners, and everything just works its way up and is used to being a guitar again rather than a wall ornament. I mean, who else plays an Explorer? There's obviously somebody, who am I thinking of that I've totally missed? Somebody I like that plays an Explorer. I suppose it's kind of like, I suppose Iron Maiden, Adrian Smith kind of played it was an Ibanez Destroyer, but it's a sort of an Explorer-y typey thing. And incidentally, see if you get one of these modern Floyd Roses, I was thinking this trem arm was absolutely pants. You need pliers to tighten up this the screw in thing, which is kind of, you think, oh, I'll just tighten that up, but you've got to pliers and really tighten up, and then you end up with where it's really responsive. Before, if you don't fully tighten up this bit, which I'd imagine probably happens if you bought like a modern guitar that's got Floyd Rose, and this thing, you know, you can move it like about 2 or 3 or it wibbles before it even touches the bridge. It moves inside the socket. This is like a super clamp fixing that you have to tighten up with pliers to make it work properly. So that might be one. Maybe that's a handy tip. It's holding tune. So basically, I'm looking at that as job done. Did what it was doing. I'm now sitting here wondering if I don't think this had a back plate on it. I'll need to ask Steve, the guy who just lives up the road, who's given me for this to fix, whether it had a back plate. I've probably got one. I don't know. The problem with the back plate is if you look inside, you can see that it's plywood. Not that there's anything wrong with plywood. It's good. It's a good weight, but generally I find nearly all guitars from the late 80s are plywood. I believe actually, I think even Gibsons from the 70s and 80s were plywood, you know, like Les Pauls were plywood. Right up until, I remember this, I was talking to this someone the other day, right up to the Yamaha Pacifica, because I remember when I think I've only ever in my life bought about 3 or 4 guitar magazines. One of the first ones I bought must have been about 96, 97 or something. I remember the advert was for the Yamaha Pacifica. If you don't, not sure what your guitar's made of, just ask to see the natural version, because the big thing at Pacifica was you could get just plain wood, light varnish, whereas all your Epiphones and Squires and stuff like that, no, we don't happen to do a natural one, because I don't want you to see that it's plywood. I think they all cottoned on later on, once Yamaha did that, like the following year or the year after. They started going, oh no, look, here we go, look, solid wood now. Whether it makes any difference, I don't know. It's actually quite easy to work with when I was enlarging these holes. It's really fidgety and it's really sweat-inducing when you're sitting there cutting into somebody, especially a guitar that's actually in quite good condition. Try not to chip anything when you're sitting there, you're dremeling away trying to enlarge the holes to take the bridge posts that came with the Floyd and then move them apart a bit. Luckily, the posts that come with these are really thin things. This guitar didn't even actually have, in fact, do I even have? I've got the box of bits that I took out of it. There are the bridge posts are in here. If they're not in here, I don't know where they are. And then this is full of all the different types of... Oh, they're not there. There's one. Yep. Oh. There's the bridge post. Oh. Yep, so it's quite small, but... Beat up. It's a screw. Doesn't even have a sleeve that goes into. Basically, the screw just goes into the wood. That's it. So when they're talking about economy, it's just literally a screw with a groove in it to take the thing. You can't use them in this. So I don't know what I'll do with that. I'll use it for something at some point. Maybe someday I'll find something. But I was really surprised that it's like, just a screw straight into the wood in Epiphone. But I think Epiphone were kind of not really a big thing yet. Also off this chap, which I've not actually finished yet, is this guitar here, which I'll do probably not tomorrow because tomorrow's Trade Tuesday. I'll do a video maybe later on today. Stick it out. Same bridge, same guy, same bridge was missing. This one took, I put silver Floyd Rose on it. This is an Encore. Again, I think it's a Samick. I think it's basically the same as this guitar, apart from it's this shape. I don't really know what you would call this. It's got like a fancy veneer on it, which is quite cool. You can see here, see the way the sunburst doesn't go round the way it kind of comes across here. Because if he did that, you would see that it was plywood. Still good though. I don't know if it might be a better guitar than that one. This one, I'm not really sure. Obviously, the Explorer with the Epiphone badge on it's worth a heck of a lot more. Whether it's a better guitar or not, I would put them pretty much as exactly the same. Very similar guitars, just kind of weird. The same guy, the same two. Maybe he really liked that bridge. I don't think so though. Yeah. So rock on. So if you're looking up one of these, if it's already got a Floyd on it and someone did a good job of it, then it's cool. It's a great guitar. If it's got that stupid Bendmaster thing on it that hasn't broken yet, it's going to break. And I would maybe have a look at getting somebody to do it or paying not very much for it. The hardware, well, the pickups kind of look up. They sound all right. Quite high output. It's got decent tuners on it. Actually, I was saying this. The Washburn Stage series, which I don't have any sitting in here just now, they've got a hockey stick headstock, which isn't that dissimilar to this. The thing I always found with that is the tuners are dead close together. But on this one, see, normally when you look at a tuner, see the wee adjustment, the wee screw here that holds the tuner on. Normally it's down in the corner, which means that you can't put them in a Washburn Stage series. This one, like the Washburn, it comes out at a 90-degree angle. Sometimes it's actually the wee screw's either on the bottom of the tuner or it's at a 45-degree angle here. On this one, it's on the end. So these tuners would fit a Washburn Stage. If you're looking for tuners for your Washburn Stage, they do exist. I don't know where you would get that clamp. That clamp's probably... It's the sort of thing, it wouldn't surprise me if you saw that clamp on eBay for 50 odd quid, just because somebody's got a guitar that has that clamp that it's got bits missing. There's like three screws, and then on the back there's a wee block that gets pulled up the way rather than clamping down like the way a Floyd Rose does. This clamps up the way, so it's not... Back in those days, it was Floyd Rose license was for the nut thing. Where is it? This cable one. Yeah. So this is what the Floyd Rose held the patent for, was the nut and the clamps in the one unit. Whereas if you look at any guitars up until they started issuing Floyd Roses, they've got a nut and then they've got a clamp behind it, because Floyd Rose owned the patent for that. So that's where you get lots of sort of crazy types of things like that. People's variation on what we class as like a standardy looking Floyd Rose. It's got, the one with the wee stupid blocks and all that. That's basically what this is. Just it's the most popular one, the one that seems to have survived. Yeah, so half an hour, rock on. Well, at least I got a good rant. But I'm actually feeling a little bit more satisfied now that it's actually playing quite well and it's actually quite a good guitar. So I'll be able to charge much more money for doing it. Rock on, catch you later. Trade Tuesday tomorrow. That's right, the batteries ran out in this. I bought batteries from bloody Lidl and they're flat. I just checked. I tried to swap them over last night in by this keyboard. Bought them in Lidl and tried to swap them over last night in the live stream, put them in and it didn't work. And it's like I've tried them with the multimeter and they're dead. See, but I bought a packet of, okay, they're not Duracell, they're Aerocell, but I mean, they should still have some power in them, not be dead. Did I just see I thought I saw a date on it there. Maybe not. No. Rock on. Catch you later.